Welcome to the final countdown. Yep. And of course, this is the final countdown for Canelo Alvarez versus Gennady Golovkin Part 2. And on top of that, for this show, we're debuting the new limited edition margarita from Bud Light, Berry Arita. Yeah, mixed berry.
This is going to be fascinating.
Yeah, I went in there yesterday at the liquor store, and the guy said, "Hey, these just came in yesterday." I was like, "What?" Yeah, I saw these. Now I know I'm supposed to stay away from the 24-ounce cans, but I couldn't help it, man. I was just like, "Oh, sorry, I gotta try you, gorgeous."
Exactly.
Yes.
Who would have thought there was even more of these to try?
Yeah, I was just thinking when are they gonna come out with a blueberry one, but now they got blueberry.
Well, they can still do it. I mean, they can still do it. This is mixed berry, basically. So they could still do a blueberry. That would be, something else will debut. We'll keep debuting them as long as they make new ones, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Woo! Tastes so good, it'll make you want to smack your mama.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, yes. This is good.
That's a good one.
They done it again.
They outdid themselves.
Yep. Oh, cheers again.
Cheers.
So now let's get into it. Gennady Golovkin versus Canelo Alvarez, Part 2.
Yep.
The rematch for the WBC, WBA, vacant IBO, and the vacant Ring Magazine Middleweight Championship of the World.
There we go.
Yeah, I remember, the first fight. I mean, we were trying to look for a bar to watch this, and we couldn't. Yeah, we couldn't find a
fateful night.
Yeah, we had a lot of trouble looking for that fight than we did for the Canelo Alvarez, the Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather one.
Yep.
Yeah, and luckily your good roommate got the screen, put the screen out, and was able to watch. I was able to watch the fight, live streaming it, and of course the fight ended in a draw, but it was still a great fight. It's like, it's kind of like, when you see one of those movie franchises where the movie's good, but the ending is bad. Yeah, a la the last Resident Evil movie.
Right.
Yeah, not Matt Mila Jovovich, by the way, but Paul W.S. or whatever his name is. Oh, fuck you, man. Fuck you.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and oh man, the spot. And of course, we were looking forward to the rematch later on in the summer, but of course that got canceled because of contained meat that Canelo Alvarez ate.
Oh,
yep. Tested positive for steroids, but then what else do you expect? It's meat from Mexico, so yeah. And then of course Gennady Golovkin fought a replacement fighter and knocked him out in 2 rounds, and now the rematch is on 1 year later.
Yep.
And this fight is taking place live in Las Vegas, right on Mexican Independence Day.
Oh, man.
Yes, Mexican Independence Day, September 15th. And I'm having a big fight party for that one. I got some guys coming over, including this one right here.
Yep, indeed. I'll be
By the way, I hope you have enough money for a Lyft or an Uber, because this fight's going to be over. This fight's going to be over like madly.
All right, yeah, looking forward to it.
Yep. And now, here's take a look at the undercard for the WBO Junior Middleweight Championship. Jamie Mongoya versus Brandon Cook. Third fight on the card, David Lemieux, who fought Gennady Golovkin and lost.
Yeah, I remember you told me about Lemieux before.
Yeah, taking on Gary O'Sullivan from Ireland.
Gary O'Sullivan.
Yeah. And, of course, Roman Gonzalez, Chocolito, former flyweight champion, taking on Moses Fuentes. Yeah, so this should be a good night of fights here. We got 4 boxing matches.
Right.
Well, the Jamie Mongoya fight was advertised a little bit. A little surprised that Roman Gonzalez's fight hasn't been advertised as much. I think because he's been on the downside of it. So, but hopefully this fight will get him back in the winning column and hopefully another shot at the title.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So yeah, I mean everyone's going to be focused on the main event, but yeah, this is definitely for the undercard, their shot at the glory too.
Yeah.
What else do you have to say about it?
Yeah. What else I gotta say is, wow, this is really some good shit here.
Yes.
And what else I gotta say is, I think this fight is, I mean, they've been advertising this as a street fight. I saw the preview for this on HBO. On HBO Boxing on YouTube, their YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yeah, and in fact, the guy from Ballers, Omar Miller, the guy. He's the big fat guy. He was in Eminem's 8 Mile. He was the big fat dude.
Yes.
Yeah, who also, by the way, he actually voices Raphael in the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie.
Oh.
Yeah, and let me tell you something, man. It is big the way they were advertising because they said, like, both these guys, they both want to turn this into a street fight. This is going to be a street fight.
Right.
And, they're going to go for the knockout in this one, and... and I believe him. I mean, it's also big. It's going to be a big fight when Rosie Perez is in there too. I mean, Rosie Perez was in the preview show, but of course, Rosie Perez, of course, a huge boxing fan growing up in the Bronx in Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
huge boxing fan.
Yep.
Yeah, and she really has been seen a lot lately at the fights.
Fascinating. Yeah, maybe she'll be like the unofficial, signature of what's going to be the big fight. Oh well, Rosie's going to come on in again, so so we know it's going to be big, right?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, it's it's Rosie Perez, and like I said, Rosie Perez, a huge boxing fan. She was actually advertising the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight on The View.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when they said that they were fighting for the new WBC gold belt. She actually advertised it. She presented it right on The View.
Oh, wow. That's fascinating. Yeah. There you go. She's making the rounds.
Yeah.
I wish I could make that voice. The voice that she makes is so iconic, but I'm not going to even attempt it.
Don't be a stupid.
Yeah, there we go. Matt got it.
Oh, yeah. I think, that was Peter Griffin.
Right. That's Peter Griffin's version. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Don't be stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, don't be stupid. She's speaking it fine.
What you talking about? Yeah.
Oh yeah, and also, and just to get into the analysis for the fight, I mean, this rematch, I believe this is going to be a street fight. I mean, I don't think this is going to be left in the judges' hands, given what happened last time. And
right.
You know what? I think from the first round or up until the last bell, it's going to be a street fight. These guys are going to be going at it. There's going to be no feeling out process. These guys are just going to come out swinging.
Exactly. Maybe we can mention what exactly did the judges do wrong last time.
One judge scored it for
if
Canelo.
You can make only one thing.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, well, one judge scored it for Canelo, one judge scored it for Golovkin, one judge scored it a draw.
Right.
Yeah, scored it even.
So that's completely split, no way to tell. Right.
Yeah, split draw. And but in Triple G's last fight, we saw the real Triple G. Granted, it was against an opponent that he should have beaten, but that right there was the real Triple G. We haven't really seen the real Triple G in a long, long time. The guy who was considered the second coming of Mike Tyson. Yes. And, you know, boxing has been looking for that. And we found this guy, only one, he's, not Ukraine, Kazakhstan. Yeah, he's Kazakhstanian.
Okay, yeah.
2, he's a middleweight. And 3, he's a lot taller than Mike Tyson.
Interesting. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the Triple G we need to see in this fight with Canelo. I mean, we saw also a glimpse of it in the first fight, but it's just that we didn't see the knockout.
Right.
You know, we did not see the knockout in that fight. So, for this fight, we need to see the old Triple G. We need to see the old Triple G. We need to see the one who goes in and knocks guys out.
Right, exactly.
And as far as Canelo Alvarez goes, we all know, has knockout power.
Yeah.
And he's got going for the knockout too. And let me tell you something, his body punches are brutal. I mean, what he did to Liam Smith, you know, with those body punches, just absolutely, totally brutal.
Fascinating. So yeah, it will be fascinating to see that pitting against each other. I was gonna say, you know, you said how he's taller than Tyson. I was like, from what I've heard, you know, I'm not an expert like you, but from what I've heard, that it's not very difficult. You know, I feel. Am I wrong that Tyson was actually pretty short for?
Yeah, for his size, yeah, he was.
Yeah.
I mean, but
for his the weight class and whatever.
Well, yeah, you know, because if you look at all of his fight, the majority of the guys that he beat were tall guys, minus Buster Douglas. I mean, tall guys mostly gave him problems, but for the most part, he did get through them. I mean, other than Douglas, the second biggest guy to, well, I think, I always go back and forth when it comes between Razor Roddick and Lennox Lewis, because Lennox Lewis, as we all know, whooped his ass.
Right, yeah.
You know, but Razor Roddick fought him twice, and he gave him a little problems, and, you know, actually gave him a little more problems in the second fight than in the first fight. But of course, Tyson knocked him down twice in the first fight and actually broke his jaw. Remember when we saw the highlights for that and talking about the rematch on this show?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, man, that guy looked like he had been making out with the bullet train.
So, yeah, I mean, Tyson might have been short, but he's the epitome of, like, short and fierce. You know, small and fierce. You know, like, you know, someone that, you know, even despite their size, you don't want to mess with, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, absolutely. But, you know, if you look at it, well, he really wasn't the first small heavyweight. You know, there was a lot of the heavyweights for their time were pretty small back in some of them in the early 1900s. I mean, Jack Dempsey was very small. Even Rocky Marciano, I've heard people saying by today's standards, because Rocky Marciano was like 180, like 165, 185 or 160 or something. No, he was 185. He would be considered like a light heavyweight, or he'd be like a middleweight, you know, like, because he wasn't that big of a person in weight. I mean, he was very short, but as far as weight size goes,
yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. So anyway, so Triple G like has some of that, you know, has some of that like cred, but he is physically taller than Tyson was, and that type of thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The only thing missing from Tyson, what separates him from Tyson, he doesn't have the peekaboo style, you know.
Right.
You know, the old school peekaboo style that Cuss taught him back in the day.
Right.
You know, I mean, he's pretty. I mean, because he is more of a. I mean, he's a fighter from Kazakhstan, but his trainer is Mexican, and he's trained in the Mexican style of boxing. He is, when he's in a slugfest, I mean, he hasn't been in too many, but when he does, he goes for war. You know, the whole take two shots just to land one thing. I mean, Canelo is good at that a little bit, but for the most part, he's mostly good at the little bit of the Philly shell. We saw the Philly shell in the first fight.
Right.
Not as good as Mayweather, because, you know, I mean, Mayweather's the kind of person where he will throw a punch, roll with it, look back, look at your girlfriend, give her some tongue, and boom! You know, it's like the Matrix. It's like...
Yeah, exactly. The whole slow down roll. That's a good impression. Yeah. So yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. I was gonna say, like, is there anything about his stature, about his style that does give him a disadvantage? I guess you're kind of.
I would say he does have Canelo has a tendency to gas out in the later rounds. I mean, his cardio looked somewhat a little better. I mean, but
I was also talking about Triple G actually.
Triple G, from what I've seen, I see little to really no weaknesses. I mean,
really,
I don't want to say he's. I mean, I don't want to say he could be up there with Floyd, but he's catching up. It's. He's catching up there, and
that's fascinating because, I mean, for everyone that watches this show, that Matt analyzes, pros and cons, weaknesses and strengths, like all day long. So it's fascinating to hear you say that.
Yeah, and the thing is about Triple G and Canelo is the difference is that Canelo has been beaten before, but he's been beaten by Floyd Mayweather.
Okay.
Since then, no boxer has really defeated him. The only one who came close was Amir Khan.
Okay.
And actually, most of my prediction was right. I remember this talking about this in one of the old episodes I got to look at. I said, what's going to happen is Amir Khan, he's going to stay with him for a while.
Right.
But then in the middle rounds, he's going to slow down because of the body punches, and then eventually he's going to get him in the later rounds. Well, It turns out Canelo actually got him in the 6th. Yeah, I think it was the 6th round he got him.
Okay.
He got him in, and I was like, oh. But
so that's the earliest of later rounds, basically.
Yeah, but, as the old saying, as we say in sports and as we say in life, it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and of course, if you don't believe me, go read the story about the tortoise and the hare.
Yeah, exactly.
Or better yet, the parody that Bugs Bunny did. Remember that?
Oh yes, I do remember that. I was mad Bugs Bunny fan. Yeah, so of course I remember that one. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I was gonna say it's kind of also like you say, fake it till you make it. I mean, it's a little bit of that because not doing so well in the beginning is you faking it. You know what I mean? And but then you actually by pretending that you have it down and pushing through, eventually you actually do have it down. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. You actually made a point there. And I was about to say, but also the other thing is that Canelo Alvarez, like I said before, he's been beaten. Gennady Golovkin hasn't been beaten. He's still undefeated. I mean, we know that Canelo can be beaten.
Right.
But the bigger question is, can Gennady Golovkin be beaten?
Right.
I mean, you talk about Tyson, Mike Tyson in his prime, right before he beat Buster Douglas, there was a time when it was like, okay, who can really compete with him? There was Trevor Berbick, there was everyone. Some people thought it was going to be Larry Holmes. Some people thought it was going to be Michael Spinks.
Right.
And everybody was wondering, who is going to be. There was especially after the 90-second knockout of Carl the Truth Williams, it was like. It was like, oh, okay, nobody can really compete with Mike Tyson. And then, of course, Buster Douglas comes along and whoops his ass.
Right.
And then but then Tyson started winning again, and then started winning after he got out of prison. It was like, oh, okay, Buster Douglas just had a lucky night. And then all of a sudden, first fight with Evander Holyfield, Evander Holyfield knocks him down and then continues to beat the shit out of him.
Right.
Yeah, and then it was like, oh. And then there was the ear-biting incident. And then... it was like, okay, Tyson can be beaten. It's just that if it's going to take someone who's not really afraid of him. And then when he was coming back, he was fighting less than subpar fighters, fighters who weren't in the A class.
Right.
But it was still like he had that presence. He still had that, that fearness. That presence of fearness.
Right.
And then Lex Lewis comes along, whoops his ass, and that was pretty much the end of Mike Tyson.
Fascinating. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, that is interesting. Like I I know that it is a position of strength to come from to be undefeated, but I think it's also does make you more vulnerable because you're waiting, you're constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop. When could it actually happen that you do get defeated?
My thing is on being undefeated is that, of course, this hasn't happened to Mayweather and Marciano.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they say that when you're unbeaten, you start winning more fights. They say you don't appreciate it as much, and then also you start relaxing.
Right.
And
exactly.
That's what happened.
Your guard down.
Yeah, that's what happened to Tyson.
Right.
The Douglas fight was just supposed. They thought, okay, Douglas is just going to be a warm up. We're going to get him out of here in a few short rounds, and then boom, we're going to get ready for Holyfield.
Right.
In fact, I saw the Breakfast Club with RBM, Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike. The current group of formation of New Edition that's on tour now. The Breakfast Club, and Bobby Brown, when he was friends with Tyson, he said that he went with he was actually in Tokyo with Tyson that night, and then he was partying with him, and they partied till like 3 or 4 in the morning, and Bobby was like, "Hey man, come on, let's go to bed." He's like, "Nah, don't worry man, I'll party all night, I'll kick this guy's ass," and then he beat. Of course, Tyson lost, and then him and Tyson kind of parted ways. Not that there was an argument; they just kind of went their separate ways. And then, But nowadays, but since then, I think in early 2003 or something, they reconnected, and now they're still good friends.
Okay.
Yeah. Matter of fact, remember the parody of Bobby Brown's Every Little Step video? They had Bobby. Wayne. They had Mike Tyson, Bobby Brown, and Wayne Brady.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
got it. Yeah.
So, and he says that him and Mike are still good friends, and he says that him and Mike can have. He says Mike is the most intelligent person you can ever talk to. I believe so. I think he is. I think he is.
Right.
We wouldn't want to have a conversation with Mike Tyson.
Exactly. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
But you were making a point about being undefeated. What was your point there?
Well, the point is that and plus the thing is, it's like Dan Severn said one time. You said, if you've never lost, how will you truly appreciate winning?
Right.
It's like the same could go for the New York Yankees. I mean, of course, the Yankees are now back on top, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
The Yankees have won World Series going back all the way to the 30s, late 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s.
Damn Yankees. The musical, yeah.
Yeah, the only decade they weren't on top was like the 80s.
Right.
And, it's like the organization, they could care less about winning. They can go 10, 20 years without ever winning a World Series, and they'll still be considered the greatest franchise ever. Of course, the players still want to win a championship because they weren't there for the years of Ruth and Gehrig and Jeter and all those guys.
Yep, exactly.
Those Yankees are like, those Yankees are like, okay, we don't care about yesterday. We care about today. This is our day. We want the championships. We want our names up there.
Right. Yeah. So that is a fascinating point. That hopefully the new generation does care more about winning and that type of thing. But if as a fighter, in your own personal legacy, you might not appreciate winning as much as you haven't actually lost. And you talk about the Yankees, the complete flip side of the coin, the Cubs never won until at least not in this century until what, last year?
Yeah, I think so, but yeah, and the thing is,
anyway, my point is that they went crazy. They appreciated it, like nobody's business because they finally won. So I guess you can kind of see the difference there.
Well, it was that, and it's also because finally, in a long time, a Chicago team in sports finally won. The last time was like when Jordan and the Bulls won their championship in '98. Of course, we all remember the shot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, and Chicago is a big sports town. And, I mean, I know we always go at Chicago whenever they come here and play the Celtics, but
Yes.
you know, Chicago is just a big sports town, a blue collar town, just like Boston.
Yep.
You know, and you know, just like Pittsburgh, and you know, actually, you know, it turns out that some of the greatest sports towns are blue collar towns.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Unlike your town, which is all you know, rice-a-roni and the big Golden State Bridge and
if you really want to go for
Jimi Hendrix and Santana,
right? Well, those are compliments. But I was gonna say you could say the elitist tech guys, that you know, the whole tech industry. You could have said that. that's more of a true criticism, that that there's what's it, Silicon Valley, and all that, but for Hendrix and reggae, you're welcome.
Well, I said Hendrix and Santana.
Right. Okay. You're welcome.
Yeah.
But if you were going to say that that they're not blue collar because of the elitist tech jobs, then that I understand.
Oh, and the entire cast of Full House, by the way.
Right.
Yeah. So, but I mean, granted, you guys got the 49ers. You know, I mean, you guys were like you dominated like mostly the 80s and some parts of the 90s.
I was gonna say 90s. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you know, what was it, the night? Also the Giants too. You know, your Giants, but mostly the 49ers with your Joe Montana, Jerry White on Rice. that was my nickname for him.
Oh yeah,
Jerry White on Rice. You know, you ever heard the term? I'm gonna stay on him like White on Rice.
Yep.
Ken Norton Jr. and of course Deion Sanders, both guys who went on to who played for the Dallas Cowboys and won NFL championships as well.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, you guys are a blue collar town, but hey, you guys still play your football, your baseball, and of course, I would say basketball, because that's where because you guys won when the Warriors were the San Francisco Warriors with Will Chamberlain, and
that's
now
right.
The Golden State Warriors are coming back to San Francisco.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yep. So yeah, that's true. Not exactly blue collar, but still a good sports town.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and. But the thing is, okay, back to boxing now, because the guys are just. Yeah, I know the fans are probably watching this man like, guys, we know it's baseball season, but can we get back to the fight here?
Right.
Yeah, but anyways, I think it's going to be a tremendous fight. I think it's going to be a street fight.
Right.
And I can't say who's going to win because. This is what Gorilla Monsoon would say back in the old days of the WWF, now WWE. This is a pick'em. You say, Bobby the Brain Indian, this is a pick'em. Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man Randy Savage, the Mega Powers explode at WrestleMania 5.
You do a good old-timey announcer voice. Yeah, that's true. It probably is. But I mean, doesn't that make a more exciting fight?
Oh yeah, of course it makes it an exciting fight because it's a pick'em.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is definitely a pick'em, and but I do make one prediction though.
Okay.
By the end of the night, somebody is gonna get knocked the fuck down.
Yep.
I mean, and both these guys got power in their hands. I mean,
right.
this is middleweight. These are middleweight fighters.
Right.
And and the thing is, this is gonna. I mean, if the cards are played right, now I know people. Now Omar Miller said that anything less than a decision anything less than a knockout is considered a failure. I mean, if it goes to a decision and we have a clear-cut winner, it can still be considered a success, in my opinion.
Right, okay. Yeah.
But, in my opinion, this could go down as one of the greatest middleweight title fights in history. I mean, when we talk about... Because, boxing has one of the greatest histories of the middleweight division.
Right.
I mean, it goes all the way back... I mean, of course, yeah, there's a long history of legacies and stuff. I'm sorry, I'm really tipsy right now. Tipsy / drunk. A little drunk. But, but what I will say is that, the middleweight division has had a great history of fights.
Yep.
Back to the 50s and, with the Carmen Basilios and the Tony DeMarcos and, Jake LaMotta and Sugar Ray Robinson, which are fights I showed in all three, part threes of my black and white boxing videos, which you can catch on Facebook, on our Facebook page, Beantown Beatdown at Facebook.com, the black and white boxing part 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
And then, of course, of course, in the 70s there was Carlos Monzon, but there really wasn't that much of a resurgence. And then going all the way back, and then of course in the 80s, you had Marvin Hagler dominating the division.
Yep.
Hagler and Hearns.
Right.
Hagler versus Leonard.
Right.
Leonard was it Roberto Duran and Iron Barkley. And then, of course, in the 90s, you had, not Sugar Ray Leonard. Fuck. Again, tipsy, but I can still remember, though.
Yeah. The 90s, middleweight.
Felix Trinidad, Bernard Hopkins, and Oscar De La Hoya. Roy Jones Jr. and James Toney. Now, of course, that fight was at super middleweight. That was for the super middleweight championship.
Okay.
But there were two good middleweight fighters who, both former middleweight champions, who were at super middleweight at that time. And James Toney was at super middleweight, and he's a super middleweight champion. Roy Jones Jr. was the middleweight champion, moving up to super middleweight, and they had a great fight. Of course, that's on. I've showed that fight twice before on one of the earlier episodes, which go check that out as well.
Okay, perfect.
And and of course there was Canelo Alvarez and Miguel Cotto. That was a great fight as well.
Yeah.
And I remember that fight. I mean, because it was Mexico versus Puerto Rico, and on top of that, it was the history of the middleweight division. And I think if this fight goes as many people believe it will go, I think this will go down as one of the great fights in the history of the middleweight division. What do you think?
So the 50s and the 80s and 90s, and now 2018. That's your prediction, huh?
Oh yeah, exactly. And I always say, like, man, if you and I were around in those days, the the late 40s, 50s, and the 60s. During the golden age of boxing when it was black and white, you and I would be having a ball, man. We'd be like the Rat Pack, man.
Right.
You, me, Frankie, Sammy, Dean, the girls from Mad Men. We'd be all there smoking cigars, drinking some nice cocktails, and watching the fights.
Yep, exactly. Like I said, that episode of Mad Men, I would always, I definitely want to be one of the office pack there. Yeah, definitely. Why don't you tell us what you think a win for either one would mean in this one?
Well, a win for Gennady Golovkin will prove that he has supremacy.
Right.
That he is, without a doubt, the all-time greatest middleweight champion. And for Canelo Alvarez, it would prove that he is absolutely, positively a legit middleweight, because he's kind of gone back and forth between super welterweight and middleweight.
Okay, yeah.
And he was a super welterweight champion, WBC and WBA. And then he lost it. Yeah, then he lost it to Mayweather, and then he won. He moved up and won the middleweight championship, and then he fought at catchweights a few times, and then after the Cotto fight, he went back to super welterweight and fought for the WBO title.
Okay.
And and then he abandoned the title. He fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., beat the shit out of him. Then moved back up to middleweight to fight Gennady Golovkin. Of course, that fight ended in a draw. But for Canelo Alvarez, he definitely needs to win this fight, because winning this fight proves that not only that Gennady Golovkin can be beaten,
right,
but it also proves that he is absolutely one of the top middleweights in the world. You know, it cements his legacy as one of the best, if not the best, middleweights in the world.
There we go. Yep, exactly. And you've said before, we've said many times that sometimes you have to be the man that beat the man. In this case, him.
Woo! Ric Flair.
Yeah. So in this case, beating Triple G, that's definitely beating the man.
Yep. As Christopher Lambert / Raiden said in Highlander, there can be only one.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
totally.
right before we end, we got about 5 minutes left. Just to let you guys know that tomorrow night, it is the Beer and Brawl show. It's the part 1 of Ladies' Night. You're gonna see some MMA fights, some boxing, kickboxing.
Nice.
You're gonna see all female fights in this one, man. Some fights you've seen, some fights you haven't seen before.
Right.
But it's gonna be all good, man. It's gonna be all good. And then,
so yeah, tune in tomorrow, Friday.
Yep. And then
Facebook
next week.
Page.
Yeah, and next week on Wednesday, it is the 1-year anniversary of the Beer and Brawl show.
Oh.
Well, actually, the 20th. The 20th is next week is the anniversary, but I'm doing it on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And that takes place Wednesday afternoon, 12 o'clock. And you guys are gonna see some of my all-time favorite fights to celebrate with you guys.
Nice.
And I hope you guys love it. And then of course Friday, I'm taking that Friday off because that week it's Bellator. But Ringside with Matt and Gabe will be next Saturday, and we'll be talking about the anniversary of Muhammad Ali versus Leon Spinks Part 2. Yep. So we're gonna be doing a Ringside episode on that because the anniversary is on the 15th, but we're gonna be doing it the week after.
Right.
So we're gonna be there with the drinks and of course next week Thursday we're gonna be here with the aftermath and some other headline stuff for the show as well.
Okay.
I mean, but like I said, it's a pick'em, but I think somebody's gonna get knocked the fuck out in this fight.
Yeah, exactly.
Gabe,
exactly.
What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. It's probably going to end in a knockout. I want to see, whose it is. Yeah, I think it will be. I think it'll be a lot bigger deal for Alvarez if he pulls it off. Yeah, it would definitely cement the legacy of Triple G and bring him to new heights as well. So. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But I guess I don't know. It's a tough one because I know about Triple G. Oh, go. That's our timer.
Well, we got 2 minutes left on the time here, the recording time.
Yeah. Anyway, let's still wrap it up.
Okay.
So I guess in a way I'm kind of rooting for Triple G, but I also it would be something to see Triple G just clench it and cement his place in history.
Well, yeah, of course, undefeated. And by the way, of course, my party is bring your own beer party. I mean, I'm gonna have some beer for myself, but this for the most part, this is a bring your own beer thing.
Yep.
By the way, what kind of beer are you bringing?
I still figuring that out. Probably a cider. I mean, if I can find more of these, I might freaking bring them.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, definitely. Bring. I mean, I know it's bring your own beer, but hey, bring more of those so that way we can you, me, and me and my friends can get drunk. Also, shout out to Jabari. Hey, Jabari, I hope you come. By the way, I hope you come after work. Because it's gonna be a big fight, and I got some pizzas too.
All right, awesome. So let's end it there.
Yeah, we're gonna end it there and go to Beantown, Facebook.com.
Yeah.
For the other shows, and also go to youtube.com/Bloody Knuckles TV, subscribe and comment.
Yep.
And now, from Beantown to your town, this is the Beantown Beatdown. I'm Matthew Burris.
Gabe Shamus.
Vios con Dios.